All right, Tiffany, take it away.
All right. So for those that don't know, my name is Tiffany Hampton. I am the Keller Williams New England Regional Productivity Coach, and we have Brooke Silva, our regional tech trainer and amazing mechanical integrator. Her new title. Yes.
Yep. One of them.
So we wanted to just take a minute and get to know you guys. Who do we have on the screen? Put in the chat. We want to know who you are, how long you've been with KW, and the one awesome thing you want to get out of this series.
And Joe, you're driving. Don't do that. I see you, friend. I took care of it for you. Please don't text and drive. I see you. We know who you are. So put in the chat.
And if you can take yourself off black screen and show your beautiful faces, we'd love to see them. So while they're doing that, I thought it would be really awesome. Let's just let's play a little two truths and a lie. Brooke,
that's hard to say. Why? That's a really hard thing to say. Like, that's a two truths and a lie.
It's not as bad as shift.
Shift is really hard to say.
All right. So give us some two truths and a lie, and let's see if we can figure it out.
All right. So me. Ready? I backpacked New England in my 20s. I went to school to be a dietitian, and I was once a nail tech.
All right. Put it in the chat. Which one do you think's a lie?
Which one is a lie? So I backpacked New England in my 20s. I was a dietitian, and I was a nail tech. So which one is the lie?
Nail tech, dietitian, backpack. No dietitian, no diet. The dietitian's kind. The nail tech and the dietitian's kind of winning.
Has everybody given their lie about me?
All right. Which one was the lie?
I backpacked New England in my 20s. Friends, I was having babies. There was no backpacking. The only backpack I carried was a baby bag. Then I actually did go to school to be a registered dietitian. They changed the laws about getting your registered dietitian. And I said, you know what? I do not want to be a doctor. I do not want to go back to school and be a doctor. And throughout my young life, I was a nail tech and a nail tech educator. I loved doing it so much that I actually got my licensing to be a nail tech educator and helped probably a couple thousand people get their license and practice good nail technique and safety. So yes, first of all, if you met me, I do not backpack. I do not backpack.
It's so funny. All right. So let's get to the serious stuff.
Okay.
What are we focusing on for the next 2 months?
One thing.
One thing.
One thing. Should we hit them with our poll?
Let's hit them with the poll.
All right. So if you guys have never participated in a poll, I'm going to pop something up on the screen in a minute, and it's just choose one. You just have to choose one. So it's going up in 3, 2, 1. And all you have to do is answer that. That's it. So do you own the one thing? Yes. Or it's the one thing I don't own.
They're not laughing. Why are they not laughing?
It's because not everybody's as punnerific as I am. They don't have endless dad jokes at their disposal, mom jokes, parent jokes. All right, couple more. I need a couple more. 27 of the 31 have answered. 2 more people. Do you own it? It's the one thing you need to buy after today. See? All right. So we're going to end that poll. And 68% of you who answered do own it. So that is fabulous. Do you guys see it on the screen? So that's a fun way to help when you're doing things with your own clients if you have to do things via Zoom.
Absolutely. All right, let's bring up that presentation.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So this is the one thing. So if you guys haven't guessed it yet, this is based on the One Thing book. And one of the reasons Tiffany and I adore this book so much is that with all we both do and everybody does in our daily lives, we're not just talking business life. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and it's easy to feel like you don't have a true path or GPS. Or now we start throwing out all these terms that we talk about at KW every day. But the one thing is there is a grounder, right? It's meant to get you down to the small things so you can achieve the big things. Because sometimes we all overcomplicate and we look at this big end goal, this mountain, and we get terrified and we get overwhelmed. So the one thing does what it's supposed to, it breaks it down and helps you get to the one thing.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna have to share a little different for this one, but go ahead, Tiffany. As soon as we're ready to click it, there's a bad word coming up. I'm just gonna cue you up.
So if you've started the book, he starts off the conversation about the movie City Slickers, which is a big part of what the one thing is. So let's go ahead and share that clip.
Here, let me put on a different share. Again, small swear. Don't freak out. Okay. Oops, hold on. My sound did not go with that. Share the sound. Okay.
Do you know what the secret of life is?
No, what?
This.
Your finger?
One thing. Just one thing. You stick to that and everything else don't mean shit.
That's great, but what's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
I love that. Who's seen the movie City Slickers? And we'll make sure you guys have that quote in case you want to watch it over and over.
Do you know I've never seen City Slickers?
Guess what we're doing the next time we have to share a room somewhere at an event?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to figure out what the one thing is. And I don't know about you, but figuring out what that one thing is can be daunting sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It can. And it could change. And that's okay to hear that too, is that as you're going down this path with us and working on your one thing, you may realize that it was different than what you probably set out and intended for it to be. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the book. And even if you haven't read it, no worries, because we have homework for you that's going to go back over the intro on what we're talking about today. But Tiffany and I have read it a million bazillion times. And we want to give you just the overview of what you would hear in the beginning and why these things matter. And in the first chapter, Tiffany, right, Gary says it right off the bat. Something had to give, right? Yep. He knew that something was not right in his world.
Yeah. And then he was looking at his world and he was constantly taking action and not seeing the results he wanted. He knew that there were 24 hours in a day and he didn't know how to do more in that day to achieve more and earn more. So he hired a coach. His coach says, you need 14 more people, right? That was the answer. Well, he wasn't in a position for 14 more people. So then he did what, Brooke?
He got small. He started going through and breaking down the steps needed to do in order to make it so that everything else became easier or unnecessary. How many of you have ever heard that? Raise your digital hand or put in the chat. Have you ever heard somebody say, by doing this would make that unnecessary or easier? It's a phrase that's punched into coaches and like I say it so often. Yes, Karina, yes. So it's something that we say a lot, but what does it mean? Like, what does it truly mean to go smaller? Because how many of you heard this? If I'm busy, it means I'm productive and I'm successful. right? We associate being busy with being successful. And that's not
100%
always
true. Is it even 10% true?
so. Helen put it in, isn't the same as being productive. Busy isn't being productive. Be productive, not busy.
Yep.
Right? Right in the book, he cues it out. I think it's page 3, where he even says, if everyone has the same amount of hours in the day, why do some seem to get so much more done than others? How do they do more? How do they achieve more, have more? Why is their currency of time worth so much more than what I'm doing? And he breaks it down and says it's simple. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. He says at the heart of their approach, they go small. They go small.
And
But going
through this
small,
journey- really quickly,
does
through
it
this
mean?
journey, all of those tools that we use at KW, you're going to see how they were developed and why they were developed and how to implement them. So this isn't just about reading the book, it's also about the implementation.
Oh, and guys, we are giving you a workbook. Stay on at the end. You will get the link to help guide you through the One Thing series. There's a One Thing guidebook that we have for you. We will also post it in the Facebook group. If you notice, Summer of Shift turned into the One Thing group for all of you. So don't worry, if you miss that, we'll make sure it gets out to you, and we will provide those links at the end after as well. And we'll be going over, if there's a model, we're going to drop it in that group. If there's a link to a worksheet, something, you will get that. Do not worry.
Absolutely. So going small is ignoring all the things you could do and doing the one thing you should do.
What is that at the end of the day? What do our agents struggle with? I struggle with it some days. What is it? What do you think ignoring all the things, what tool do we have at our disposal to help us do that? I'll give you a
Calendar.
calendar. Who said that?
That would be me, Brooke.
Oh, hi, friend. Yes, your calendar, time blocking, right? We need to protect our time. We protect it. Karina's yelling at someone. I don't know why, though. Who's she yelling at? Is she yelling at me? Time block. Oh, it's behind you. Protect it at all costs, right?
Yeah.
It's also recognizing through those things that not all things matter equally, and it's finding the things that matter most, right? We tell you to protect your lead gen time at all costs. It's because, yes, while there's always going to be something that could take you out of lead gen time, right? But it's protecting that time, because guess what? You have no fires to put out if you have no leads.
Right.
If you have
And
no
it's like-
closings, no appointments.
Yeah. And it's like the old Ignite. You looked on the left side, it was all the lead generating activity. On the right side was all of the creative, building the listing presentation. If you didn't do the left side, the right side didn't matter. So
Yeah.
not all things are created equally.
But they are important. And I think we have to hear that. We're not telling you that those things are important, but if you take that out of your lead gen time, if you erase, you must replace. Where are you going to make up that hour you spent putting out fires or dealing with other things like making your listing presentation if you're taking it out of your lead gen time?
Yeah.
This is also a tighter way to connect you to do what you want, right? We don't work for just the sake of working. We all have bigger goals in life. And how we get to those goals, how we tighten up, how we go smaller is how we're going to make those dreams and goals come into a tighter focus, right? Right now, depending on where you are in life, that mountain you're staring at as a goal, you could be closer to it, you could be farther away, and you're backpacking New England to get to it.
Yep.
Right.
Well, and this is where it also comes into play. This is business planning season, right? When you look at that life allocation form and you say, okay, in 2023, my vision is to do a family Disney, go on an African safari. Like, what are those visions and dreams? Because essentially that's going to feed you to do that one thing, that small thing, because every commission should be aligned with what your personal goals are. You're not in this business just to be in business. You're in this business to have an amazing life.
Right. A life by design. And Tiff and I are giving you permission today to have big dreams and big goals. And it's okay for some of those goals to be selfish, right? Because a lot of us struggle to get to our big why because of guilt or the need to wrap it around family or a person or something that's not inward facing. And today we give you permission to go ahead and get really selfish about that goal because it's got to mean something.
If there were no limitations, no money limitations, no time limitations, what would your life look like? Because you could make that happen.
It all starts with one domino. How many of you, I'm going to stop sharing because I want to see your faces. How many of you, this is how old I am. I didn't have things like social media or YouTubies. How many of you actually played with dominoes, not to play the game and win points, but to set things up and knock things down? Were you successful every try to get every domino to knock over? Nope. I see a lot of no's. Did you have to reset them up and try again? Right? We had to. Did you drive your family crazy because you had dominoes all over the house and people walked by and if they knocked it over, I got ripping mad? Yeah. That was me. That was me. That's your lead domino. So let's talk about, Tiffany, how change comes about with the domino effect.
Absolutely. So when you look at that first lead domino, how big is it?
Huge. It's huge.
Right? And yet, when you look at this, does it really make sense that that little domino will knock down that big domino? Right?
Right? Most people think that if they start at the right, they need to tackle the big thing.
Yep. And sometimes, and I'll just use me as an example on this, right? Because Brooke and I were just in a meeting at 1:00 and I took the granular picture, right? It was ginormous, a 9-page document. And I have someone in my life who is like, hey, and can we make that 1 page? So yeah, we can. And yet we needed to start with, okay, this is my big dream and vision of what this looks like. And now what's that one small domino bite action item or whatever it takes that's going to get me there? Because you're just building momentum. And we usually fall short when we start building momentum and we derail ourselves.
Right. And all of our friends who played dominoes and made the domino trails said to us, you weren't always successful the first time you tried to make all the dominoes go in order and that they had to reset them up and try different patterns or do different things. It's the same thing when it comes to our business lives. Right. Or the one thing we're trying to get clear on.
The cool thing, though, is we're at Keller Williams, where systems and models and processes and technology, sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that small domino has already been taken care of by our company, and we just need to follow the system and the process.
Line them up. Hit. So the hardest thing is just getting those dominoes lined up. And part of the homework you're going to have and the worksheets you're going to do are going to set the dominoes up for you in a way that's going to help you make sense of what you can do so that everything else becomes unnecessary or easier. And while the book says things like it's easy, it's simple, it's not easy, right? Some of this stuff may hurt a little bit. And for those who played with the dominoes, while you were hitting those, they went sequentially, right? They couldn't jump a domino because dominoes are not alive. They cannot jump and do things. Would we agree? Right? So we had to do things sequential. And we've said this, success builds on success. A lot of us come into this world from previous careers where we were successful, and the frustration that we can't get from A to Z, we have to go through the alphabet. It frustrates us. We want to be successful like this. We see the top producers, or we watch these, these great connect things that we have. We go to mega camp or family reunion, and we want that now. But we got to remember that success was built slowly for them, one domino getting to that lead domino over time. It's, we have to move towards our highest success of mastery, and then we got to start the process over.
Yep.
Tiffany, what do you want to add on that one?
Oh, you're always going to get back to that initial first domino as you continue to grow, right? So you're going to hit the dominoes, going to master whatever you desire to master, and then now you're going to start over with another. So it's a process, and the sooner in your business you learn to master this, the sooner you're just going to keep growing. And it's the hockey stick, right? And I don't know if you have that as a slide example, but it's a hockey stick. You go like this, and then all of a sudden you go like this, right? But this could be like 3 years, and then all of a sudden for 6 months you're going straight up because you spent the time and the energy. And we're in instant gratification mindset. A lot of us, many of us, the world is, we want it now. So that hurry up and wait is really exhausting.
You mean competitive salespeople are known for patience and not hurry up and wait is not in our vocabulary, ma'am.
I know, right? And yet this is where you celebrate the small wins. Like
right.
Today was day one of my process and I accomplished it. Yep. Tomorrow, day 2, and I accomplished it. And eventually those little accomplishments get larger and larger until finally you're like, and then people around you are saying, wow, you're amazing. You did that so quickly. And you're like, yeah, if you only knew what it looked like at day 1.
Well, here's a great example of that. Tiffany and I get to work together often, so often on projects. And in those projects, sometimes people will say to me, you are so fast when it comes to designing. You are so fast when it comes to figuring out XYZ of a design, of making the font work, the colors work, and you just go, go, go. But what people don't realize is that since the age of 16, 17, is that I've been working on those skills and trying to master that very specific piece of technology or that design element. And that's my true love. And that's my zone of genius, is taking those visionary things. What did you call me? A mechanical what?
Mechanical integrator.
So I integrate those ideas, and by understanding the team I work with, I'm able to put those into that one sheet that Tiffany was talking about earlier. And Ashley put something in the chat that I do want to read, is that don't compare your start to someone else's middle end. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I love that, because oftentimes, especially in a social media world that we live in, you only see what those people project, right? An overnight success in 10 years, Helen just said. And one of the things that's so hard sometimes is somebody who's newer in this industry, or maybe you've had a setback, or maybe you're coming back for your reunion tour. Whatever it is we have zero patience for ourselves to line up the dominoes and get the process started, right? So compete with yourself, aspire to have goals, and enjoy what other people in this industry are doing. But I think we need to stop comparing ourselves to others. There's no one like you on this planet. And just set yourself for 1% better every day. Right? When you sit with me, don't say I'm not tech savvy, because I'm going to take your cell phones away from you. You are running the most complicated piece of technology and communication to ever exists in your palm every day. Joe is driving one of the most complicated cars on the planet. I don't know what it is, but newer cars are always complicated, right? How many times have you ever sat in someone's car and been like, how do you start this thing? I don't know how to start your car. It's a piece of technology. So what we need to do is just start getting better at setting a goal, being competitive with ourselves, and only competing against ourselves to be 1% better every day.
100%. And keep in mind, you are good at what you do. You are a genius in what you do. And as you grow your business, you have the opportunity to involve other people. And right now you have the opportunity to involve systems and models and technology and figure out how to stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm. And Nicole put the stories we tell ourselves, right? And I'm going to challenge you to say the lies we tell ourselves. I have always said this. Do you remember if you've got kids, riding a bike is like the most difficult thing, right? Remember how happy you were when you got to take your training wheels off? Would you ever say to your child, "God, you're so dumb. This is so easy. Anyone can do this. Look at all the people riding bikes around you. What's wrong with you?" Could you imagine saying that to your child? But yet that's how we treat ourselves every single day in our worlds. We've seen it. We hear it. We know we've done it to ourselves. We are so quick to treat ourselves like a piece of garbage because we didn't quickly get something. And I'll tell you, as adult learners, and I study adult learning heavily, it's like the nerdy thing I read all the time. We have learning bias as adults because of our past learning experiences or what we've been told. If you've ever been in a class with me with my big why, I go over it often. My passion for educating comes from a life being told I wasn't allowed to learn. And I changed that for myself. And my goal is always to change that for others. And we do. Kellen says we have to be kind to ourselves as we are to a dear friend. But yet we don't do those every day. We don't do those things every day. So we're excited to be in this with you and help you find that lead domino. And I saw him pop up on the screen, and I'm going to call him out at some point because he is a certified One Thing facilitator and coach. And I see him smirking right now. But I'm going to tell you, one of the hardest things I ever did in my professional KW career was get to the heart of what my lead domino was. Tony, do you remember when you came onto our Market Center tech trainer call for New England and you made me cry? Yeah, it was a good day, right?
Didn't mean to make you cry, sorry.
I made me cry. So what Tony was coming on to do is help us get to the heart of what a true 66-day challenge would look like. How many of you have heard of a 66-day challenge? Put a yes or a no in the chat for me, because we're going to explain it anyway. Yes. How many of you have had a successful 66-day challenge? Put it in the chat, yes or no. A lot of no's popping up. And I got to tell you, in the career time since I had come to KW, I had not won my own 66-day challenge. And what Tony did for us that day was get to the heart of why we were failing at 66-day challenges. So my 66-day challenge was I wanted to do my morning savers, right? If you know what savers are, I wanted to do my savers every morning. They make me feel better. I'm a better human when I do them. Now, actually, Tony, can you describe exactly what a 66-day challenge is? And don't worry, I've got the PDF for you guys too. But what exactly is a 66-day challenge?
It's the attempt, hopefully successfully, to form a habit.
Yes.
So you decide on something that you want to, a habit you want to form. And then, like you said, Brooke, the problem most people do is they say, okay, I want to lose 15 pounds. It's the 18th domino. It's too big. And most people, how many people have gone at New Year's resolution? I'm hitting the gym. By February, you don't even know where the gym is anymore. Right. Yeah. So it's delete the GPS. 66 days is the average that it takes to form a habit. Some longer, some shorter.
So what Tony figured out with me that day and helped me get back to it, and there was yelling, there was crying, there was snot flying, there was a lot of emotion behind this, was that I'm a workaholic. I was a workaholic. Okay. When I transitioned over to RTT, I was still taking some bad habits into my new role that I should not have. So I was not doing my savers. So he'd say, well, why aren't you doing your savers? And I'm like, well, I'm exhausted. Great. So you're not waking up on time. Okay. You're not waking up on time. Why? Well, I'm having a hard time falling asleep. Okay. Why are you having a hard time falling asleep? Well, I'm going right from working on my computer to trying to go to bed. Okay, so you're working well past when you should be working. Why, yes, I am. So my 66-day challenge was not to do my morning savers every morning. It was actually to be done working by a certain time. And then he helped me find an accountability partner who kicked my butt, who was going to be mean and hold me to the standards that I set up for myself. It was not about being mean, but boy, did that help me. So my 66-day challenge was to be done working by 7 p.m. every night. And I had to text my accountability partner a picture of my computer off and of me doing something for myself, my family, somewhere in my home, just not in front of my computer. And it was really hard. It hurt so bad because I felt like I was failing my role, my region, the people who I help lead. And what it ended up doing, week 1 was really hard. Like I was racing. I was watching the clock and I was like, I will get this done. And then week 2, I was like, instead of my accountability partner texting me 5 minutes before, now I am going, I'm going to text him 5 minutes before a picture and surprise him. Then it was a half hour before. Then it was an hour before. And before you knew it, 66 days flew by. And when work was done, I wasn't doing anything else. But what I realized was my time is my time and I deserve it. My family deserves to have the best parts of me. There's nothing I can solve after certain times because, friends, the board's closed, MLS is closed, and KWI is asleep too. But I got over the fear of having to work 24/7 to consider myself great at what I do. Here are some benefits. I have a fantastic relationship with my accountability partner. Through the process, a great relationship became a stellar relationship. My family stopped complaining that I was never around. People started respecting my time, but more than that, I started respecting my time. It became a big part of who I am. And guess what? I haven't had to look at a 66-day calendar to do my savers for the 2 years that's been. And I feel better every single day. And I think of Tony and my accountability partner every single day that I do this. So that lead domino was impactful. Painful in the beginning. I'm not going to lie on that one. Being a workaholic was not a fun place to live in, especially with the 30,000-foot view back into who I used to be. So Tony, thank you for that. Appreciate you. Tiffany, you must have a great 66-day challenge because you have been with us a long time.
So mine was really, and my very first one was around lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really nailing that 9 to 11. And it wasn't the doing it, it was the limiting beliefs behind doing it. And the fact that, well, everybody works, right? Or nobody's going to answer their phone. So it was really.
So hold on. Your limiting belief was that you can't lead gen between 9 and 11 because everybody works.
And because everybody works and they're not going to answer their phone, and I'm just wasting my time.
Oof, that's a tough one. Hold on. Friends, put yes or no. Anybody feel like that? If you agree with that statement right now with that limiting belief, throw it in the chat because we're going to crush it.
Yep. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was about the certain times a day, right? I was like, well, why don't I call from 4 to 6 when I know they're driving home from work? right?
Oh, you want to reinvent the wheel? That's so good.
Well, and let's not even reinvent the wheel, right? Let's just talk about the fact that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, what does my willpower look like? What fires have I put into my life that I need to really manage? And did I really have the time or the energy to do it? Because so many other things came into play. So my lead domino was really the affirmation, right? Even if I don't talk to someone, I'm going to leave a great message. They will call me back and I will list 2 properties this week, right? And I had to do it, and I had to do it, and I had to do it. And yet, it worked. And Ashley put in the chat, well, I work from 5 a.m. to 12:30. So I always think after 9 and before 5 is when people are at work, right?
But that's not when you're at work. So, right?
Yeah. And how many, let's just talk about my whole issue in life is the limiting beliefs. Every time I do not accomplish something, it's because my mindset is telling me that is not a true statement. That's never going to happen. Right. So even down to exercise, it doesn't matter that if I get on my bike, because I'm not going to see any change. Well, no, I'm not going to see any change the first time I got on the bike. And what is that first lead domino? Is it really getting on the bike? That is not the lead domino. The lead domino for my exercise was really that my blood work sucked. And if I didn't fix what I needed to fix, would I be there for my children? So again, it was the mindset piece. So my world is really about mindset. How do you make sure that your brain is not your worst enemy? And a lot of times it is.
So here's something I learned a long time ago about myself as a problem solver. I consider myself a problem solver. Most of your tech people are, which makes it so that my brain goes to worst case scenario, because my brain wants to step back to make sure that nobody else hits worst case scenario, which has also been one of my biggest productivity killers and kills me with limiting beliefs. Right? So it makes it so that we can't get forward. So in the exercise in your workbook that you're going to get today, and I'm going to get ready to plop up those links, but there's an exercise, and we're just going to do exercise 1, because getting to the lead domino, we kind of got to get you going on what's important to you. What do you want to master? What are some things in your world that are super important to you? And if you're not ready to explore the business side of things, maybe you want to explore the personal side of your life, right? There's all these bubbles you're going to learn about that make us who we are. There you go, friends. It's all in the chat for you. And remember that if you're driving, this will be in the Facebook group. But in the first exercise, and when you read the first couple of chapters, to discover your one thing, we really do have to start on uncovering what you think your purpose is right now. We are not going metaphysical purpose of life. We are talking, what is the purpose right now? What does lasting happiness look like? Because it might not have been the same before. So in this exercise, you're going to write down some activities you are passionate about, right? You guys learned about me earlier that I was a nail tech, love graphics, and was going to be a dietitian. So you know I love food and I'm passionate about food. And when we do these exercises, these hobbies, we talk about those things. Write down whatever just hits your brain. Whatever feels good, put it down. And then you're going to dig deeper and deeper and deeper into those things. Tiffany, you love this exercise. You know what I realized the other day? I'm on to you. In our last conversation, this was like exactly how you coached me through wanting to get knowledge about something. So I'm on to you, lady.
Well, and that's what, once you know it, you can't unknow it, right?
Yeah.
And if we're not accomplishing what we need to desire to accomplish, who is that person in your life that's supporting you and encouraging you, right? Who's your coach? If you don't have a coach, no matter where you are in your business, send me an email and we will figure out how to get you a coach, right? Because if you do not have somebody that you are accountable and will walk you through the different places that you're at, because I coach every day, like,
Yeah.
not even on purpose. It's just a natural part of who I am now, because somebody will say something that I'm like, is that 100% true? If I ever say to you, is that 100% true? The answer is no, it's not 100% true. I know that. You just need to realize that you know that, right? So when you're looking at your world and your children, like, what legacy do you want to leave for your children? Getting to understand the one thing as an adult, and then sharing that with your best friend, your father, your mother, your whomever, your children, this is where the game changes. And you make some money in selling real estate in the process.
I love that. I love that. All right, so we have I'll double check that, Helen, and make sure it works. If you're on a phone, just remember it's sometimes cranky, so try to do it on the computer. And if not, check the link in the Facebook group. At least drag the Facebook group in if you have not. Put those in again for you guys. All right, so you're going to have a workbook. We have another class. We have reading for you guys. So if you have not snagged it, the book link is in there. It's $2.99 today on Amazon. If you have
On
Audible,
Kindle, right?
yeah, on Kindle. The other thing is, if you guys have your NAR, go log into NAR and look at the library, because a lot of the books we talk about are available for ebook lending, or talk to your leadership. Okay. This is a book you will reference the rest of your life, and help other people in your world with it. So you're going to read through pages 54. Don't go forward in the exercise. This is not about overachieving and getting the workbook done, because we want to make sure that you understand why we're doing certain things before you hop forward. So just do exercise 1. Read the 56 pages, enjoy the pictures. There's a lot of pictures in this book, so it's actually not 56 pages worth of reading. And then start to think about those hobbies, those activities, and we want to talk about them next week when we pop into this next part of the workshop. And we really want to get that lead domino for you guys so that we can make things easier or unnecessary. And think about an accountability partner. Tiffany is a fantastic accountability partner for me, because she asks me 3 questions and there's no emotion involved. She's holding me accountable to the things I've asked her to do. And that's it. It has nothing to do with our friendship, our relationship, our work relationship. It is what I need to get going in my goal. And if not, what can we do?
Yep.
Think about an accountability partner. It should not be the people in your life that do nothing but hug you.
And whoever you're going to choose as your accountability partner, invite them so that they're taking the journey with you.
And we are going to give you some questions to help you with your 66-day challenges we're going to set up. So that way, when you start working with someone, they're going to have 3 questions, or they're going to have a specific action to help you through those accountability pieces. It's usually just 3 small things. 3 small things. That's your homework.
Small, right?
Small, like me. You're small RTT, right? Big impact on things, though. All right, favorite part of any class I do. Not just ahas, except for when my camera decides it wants to go blurry. What is the one thing you are going to immediately implement when you walk away from this call today? What is one thing? See what I did there? I'm bringing the theme through. You're going to implement immediately. So raise your digital hand. We'll come off of mute. Oh, Louise, I think you're in a private message with me. She says, download the workbook and count out 66 days on the calendar. I like it. Safe keeping my time and schedule. Amanda, how? How are you going to do that? Because we
I like
could say
writing
it.
when I'm reading. So actually put in the calendar when they're going to spend time reading and growing.
Time block.
Yeah. Finding an
Right.
accountability partner.
Friends, if we're always in the car as realtors, Audible is your best friend.
Yes.
Audible is your best friend.
Brooke gets upset with me because I'm constantly giving her books. Literally, I drive like an hour and a half a day a lot of times, and I listen to 2 books a week through Audible at 1.5 times speed. So when I'm
Yes,
driving down to
yes.
Mass, and then I say, you need to read this, you need to, and you know, we don't believe in multitasking, but I do believe when you're driving, you should listen to Audible.
Yes, there's always trials for it. So you can usually, with a trial, if you've never had it, you can get up to 2 free audiobooks. So use it. I put the link in to snag your first audiobook, which is The One Thing. And you'll have all the pictures and the things you wouldn't see in the book. I have it 3 different ways. I have an ebook, audiobook, and I have the physical book because I'm a weirdo like that. Time blocking in order, The One Thing. I've seen a bunch of accountability partners. I've seen that.
So next week, the question will be who, and did you have that conversation?
Yep. The other thing, guys, is I'm going to put up a post in our One Thing Facebook group that most of you are part of because I just changed it over from summer of shift. And I'm going to put up who needs an accountability partner. Right? So if you need an accountability partner, you want somebody fresh in your life who doesn't have a personal relationship with you, you're looking for pure accountability, find someone in that list who, and I'm going to, if you want mornings, you guys decide that, take it offline, right? Work for the both of you,
Yep.
but find someone who's going to help you stay on task. All right. What else? What else? Yeah. Oh, MREA on Audible. Sometimes I have to hear someone say it instead of me reading it over and over.
100%.
I love that. I love that. What else? What are we going to put into play immediately?
Well, and Jen loves when I go negative. What's going to happen when you don't put that one thing into play immediately? Right?
So,
You have 2 choices in life. You can take action or you can continue to live the life you're living.
right, we all want to, it's funny, we want things to change, but we have a group of people who hate change. Right? Like, why does it have to change? But we do. Nothing changes unless you do. Courtney put it in there.
Yep.
And I think you'll find through the one thing that change is inevitable. It really is. And we're so accustomed to it in parts of our lives that when it comes to the one part of our life we feel we have full control of, which is our business, we don't like curveballs or change.
Yep. Well,
So,
and no matter what you're going to change, the decision is are you going to force the change or is someone else going to force the change for you?
right?
And you may not like that result.
Right. So it's not so much a negative, Tiffany. It really isn't. I know it's future negative, but if you don't make these changes in your personal life or business, how will it impact your life?
Right.
Right? How will it impact your life? I know for me that if I didn't change or pivot or do things, my husband couldn't go to school full time and fulfill his dreams. Right? So I show up every day as the best person so he can quit his job in January and be full time in school the rest of his career.
Yep.
Huge. Huge. Shall put in stay the same and live with regret.
Yep.
All right. Let's end this on a happy note.
Let's do that.
Ahas. I know we said action items, but let's do some ahas from today and end this in happy. Happy, happy, happy.
And let's come off mute and actually hear voices other than mine and Brooke. As much as I love Brooke's voice, I like to hear others.
Well, you hear it all day too. You are so right, Nicole. Yes, I can do nails. I'm not licensed to anymore, so I can't make money. But yes, I do my own every other week. I can't wait to hear Tiffany's 2 truths and a lie next week, by the way.
I'm not sharing.
Now you are. I can tell you who heard. Go ahead. Thank you, Courtney.
Um,
we're-
can you hear me?
There you
Yes.
are. Yep.
Sorry, I put my hand down prematurely. So I have a question. When in the beginning,
Yep.
you guys were talking about, what is the one thing? And when we're thinking about the one thing that we want to work on, I mean, where is how broad can we be? What is the limit here? I mean, I know Lindsay Lohan, the limit does not exist, but I mean, what, I don't know, what are the parameters here when we're trying to put this together?
When
So
you
that's what.
yeah.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
When you think about, you have to start with the end in mind, right? So I will honestly tell you, my goal is $4.5 million net worth, which will get me where I desire to be financially. So that is that domino that's 3 years down the road, or however long it's going to take me to get there. And now I'm going to back into it, right? So to get that, I have to do this. To get that, I have to do this. To get that, I have to do this, right? And then it's going to back you into that one thing that if I did nothing else today but this, I've stepped forward towards that goal. And it may be as simple, like using my goal as an example, it may be as simple as building a budget today.
Right. Signing up to have a P&L. It could be
Yeah.
something so small, and you're not supposed to figure that out today, Courtney. That's what this whole series is for, is to help gain clarity on all that and help you every time you hit those goals and you need to start over. So don't feel like you leave this today and have to have everything figured out before you come back next week. That's why we say just do exercise 1, because we're going to slowly build into how do you get to that lead domino, knock it down, and then slam it out of the park so that you do hit those goals, or we readjust.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is not we're not figuring out life today.
Just so you know, I've been working on the one thing since 2013. So it's not a one and done conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, every time it's something
Not-
different too, right? Because
Yep.
it's
Right.
the counterbalance, and you find that you need something else when you figure something else out.
It's
And there's always life changes.
Yeah.
Right. There's always things in our life that change as we age. My goals from 5 years ago are certainly not the goals I have with my family today or for my own business today. So it's all about where we are in our life and what we're also ready to hear. Right. This is why we say take bold every time it comes around. Take ignite again and again and again. Read the MREA over and over. I swear I hear something different every single time I go to one of those things or I'm part of it because I wasn't ready to hear it before.
Yep. And keep in mind, it's that, and I don't have it, no person walks into the river and the river is the same, that whole quote, right? Because
Mhm.
you're different or the river is different, right? You're never the same. So what else?
Thank you, Courtney, for that, because I'm sure a bunch of our friends were feeling that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the insight.
We like to
Come
hear
on,
your
one more.
voice. I know you're going to hear Brooke and I, we're going to call you out to have a conversation with us. We like to hear your voices. Amy.
I'll just say I appreciate the reminder that success builds on success.
It does. It does. And Amy's learning how to build on success, one growth call at a time. All right, friends. This has been so much fun. You've got your homework. Stay tuned for it in the Facebook group. If you have not joined it, please join it. Make sure to time block for this the next few weeks, 2:00 Tuesdays. Don't worry, you'll get a million reminders and emails about it as well, and you'll be in the Facebook group. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to myself, Tiffany, Jen, the region. I am b.silva@kw.com. Tiffany or Tiffany Hampton at kw.com.
Hampton, Yeah, it's Tiffany Hampton at KW.
Yeah, there's no period in between your name like mine.
Nope.
If you need us, reach out to us. We're going to put that accountability partner up in the Facebook group. So if you are looking for one, make sure you comment and add it to that post. This recording will be live on the Keller Williams New England YouTube's channel. So you can always replay this if you feel you missed something or if you were driving and want to see it again. And we can't wait to see what those league dominoes are so we can help you knock them down and get to those big goals. So thanks, guys, for joining us.
See y'all next week.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.